coming. I really appreciate you giving up your time and coming to listen to these three fantastic speakers that we have for you today. The format of the afternoon is going to be each of them will give a 5 to 10 minute little chat about what they do. The name of our series is called How I Made It. So they're going to let you know how they got into the job they got into. And then after each of them has a chance to share, we will open it up to questions, and you'll feel free to interact with them. We're pretty informal here, as you can tell, and we're looking forward to hearing from you as well. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Daniel Howard, who I just had the pleasure of meeting. And he works at a new, well, fairly new. How old is Rightscale?
6 years old.
Oh, not that new. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an old timer now. But one of the most up-and-coming technology companies, and he is a account executive there, and he can explain that a little more to you. So
Sure.
take it away.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I don't think any of us have met. We have before, right?
Yeah,
Zaytian.
Yeah.
Was there last night. There was 6 of us. It was fun.
I was not there last night.
Great one. I know, I was looking for you. We walked in and we were hoping to get a fire pit table. I was like, I think I know one of the managers or guys who switch people. Anyways, good to see you. Yeah, well, thank you guys again for coming. You know, if you weren't here, we wouldn't have anyone to talk to. So, appreciate it. A couple of people mentioned majors. A couple of people said they're interested in sales, marketing. Anyone else want to share?
I'm interested in sales.
Sales?
For the reason that when you do break-even analysis, you don't make any profit until you actually sell. When you start a business, you don't get out of the development stage until you actually sell something, whether it's a product or a service or both.
And every department within an organization is actually set up to support sales, whether it's marketing, bringing in leads, whether it's services, supporting existing clients and helping them make happy, whether it's finance, collecting the money, whether it's engineering, building the products that sell. So, good answer. You mentioned marketing. Why marketing?
It's the basis of sales. You gotta know what you're buying before you buy it.
And why does it interest you?
I don't know. I'm into sales as well. But, particularly marketing is just something that stood out.
Yeah, good. The reason why I ask is a lot of times, you know, you're out there, you know, you're searching for answers and for direction. And when you can ask yourself why and really understand the why, the what, a lot of times the what to do becomes a lot more apparent. And it's usually a what that doesn't just seem appealing and then you get into it and actually realize you don't like it. Because when you understand the why, it can really help you to say, okay, if I really know why I like these things and what interests me, then if I go in that direction, the thing I end up with probably will interest you. So I'll loop back to that, but a little bit on me. I went to UCSB, loved it. You know, it's great to have academics and a good social life. It actually really helps prepare you for getting a job because people really want to work with those that communicate well and have, you know, are positive and enjoyable to work with. It makes a big difference not only in productivity in the workplace, but enjoying it. So I started out studying math. I like math just because it's logic, and I didn't really like memorizing things. I got into economics a couple years in because I wasn't really liking pure math and wanted a place to apply it. And so I got a joint degree for the math and the econ department. And in studying economics, I found it a little bit boring once I got into it, specifically the accounting side. And so that sort of drove me towards technology and entrepreneurship. And just like there's an entrepreneurship center here, there's one at UCSB called the Technology Management Program. Fantastic program. And sort of having that background with math, economics, and technology sort of drove me to Rightscale. And I guess you could ask why Rightscale? How did I end up at Rightscale? Well, I networked. And networking isn't always exchanging business cards, kind of boring. Actually, I was going sake bombing on a Friday night for a friend's birthday, and was at Kyoto's. I thought Kyoto's was downtown. I had left my credit card downtown the night before at college night. Thought it would be easy to grab the credit card before sake bombing. Also thought I might need it. went down there and not only couldn't find my credit card, but realized Kyoto's wasn't downtown. It was off Las Positas. So I was about 30 minutes late to the dinner. And I was sitting at the end of the table, ran into a friend from the ski and snowboard team. He had just joined Redscale as the 6th employee in November 2007. Started telling me about it, said they weren't looking for a business person now, but to keep in touch. We kept in touch. In April 2008, Redscale raised $4.5 million in funding in 3 weeks, which is unheard of. It takes months, if not years, to raise that much funding. And so I went to a TMP professor and asked for a recommendation. It turns out he was also on the board. I did a little research there. And I hadn't seen him in over a year and a half, but he remembered me solely because I participated in class and it was, I guess, a little bit individual. Maybe the hair helped remember me. And also I went to an office hour or two. And so that recommendation got me an email back from the Rightscale CEO a day later. And I started at Rightscale the Monday after commencement. An interesting thing to note there too is so the technology management program, I found out about it from a guy when I was studying abroad in South Africa. Also, the girl whose birthday it was when I first found out about Rightscale and reunited with my friend who started working there, I met her in South Africa as well. And so the idea of that is, like, by exploring your passions and getting out there, things happen, and a lot of times you can't connect the dots ahead of time. But by networking, being a positive person, attracting people to you, just being a good person, even if it's not, it's pretty logical to see the direct connection and all those things. So Rightscale. I'm in sales at Rightscale. I've been doing it for close to 4 years. Happy to talk to you guys about it. In terms of career progression, I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but it's been pretty fun. So I was the second sales guy at Redscale. We've hired over 50, opened up 3 offices in London, Singapore, and Tokyo, developed 3 partner programs, formed inside and outside sales teams, sales development teams, sales operations teams, and account management teams. So within sales, there's a lot of different types of sales, whether you're working with existing clients and it's more customer satisfaction and thinking about, okay, how do I use either the people that this person knows to get more sales or directly grow the business with this particular client. Sales development is a great way to start your career because you're really just calling people, talking to them, and qualifying in or out, which is the basis of sales. Because the most important thing in sales is your time and how you spend it. And if you're not spending it with the most qualified people or you're not allocating it accordingly, it's going to be really hard to rise to the top of your team, and which is how you're judged. So in going through Rightscale, it was great. It's been a wonderful experience, but possibly the most important part is I got a pretty good understanding of what I liked and why, and what I didn't like. And in talking to a friend she's in her early 40s, we had this was about a year ago, we kind of had a come to Jesus talk, and she graduated college and was always set on, like, the next title, the next job, the next car, the next house, the next promotion, the next raise, managing bigger teams. And she pretty much did it. Super successful, got most of the things she was going for, and woke up one morning and kind of realized, like, you know what, I'm not really happy. And she realized that she wasn't really happy because she didn't really enjoy the time that she had spent getting to that point very much. There was the fleeting moments of success where you get the raise in the car, but, like, on the day-to-day basis, it wasn't really making her happy. And there weren't any impacts either that were really fulfilling to her. And so sort of because she wasn't asking, why am I doing this? And just going along with, this is what I think makes sense, she actually wasn't feeling that successful, even though she had achieved everything she was going for. So in that, I would say it's just good to take a step back and ask questions. That's something that I'm always doing in my career. So a couple things I could share would be, in terms of taking a next step outside of sales, there's a number of different, not outside of sales, but taking a next step, a number of different ways. So I've thought about working at one of Rightscale's international offices and gaining international business experience and helping to hire and build and manage teams. I've also thought about, because I've realized I don't want to be in sales for the rest of my life, of how I can get into more strategic roles in the company that involve sales, roles like as product management, where you're working with sales to see, okay, what are customers demanding and wanting and why? And also working with engineering, so what do you guys think we should build and why, and how much time is involved in all of these things, and then going and prioritizing that. That's kind of in an IT SaaS sense, but the picture's kind of the same with most products. So things I'd encourage you guys to do with where you're at now is, ask yourself, when I wake up, what do I want to do? I know it sounds cliche, but once you graduate college, it's not like high school where you've got some great, big, amazing thing to go on to that sort of can be teed up for you. You really got to make your own path. And so if you can wake up and really like what you're doing, it's great. I got to stop. Also, just location, environment, people, all that is really good things to take into consideration in terms of finding a job. It's good to get a couple jobs while you're in college just to try to help figure that stuff out. And looking back to the whole idea of asking why, a lot of times when you ask why, the what can become apparent. And so I hope this was kind of helpful, and happy to answer questions after they go.
Thank you. That was great, Daniel. I really appreciate that. I like how all the speakers always play into our hand of networking and talking with people. That's exactly what we encourage you to do when you come and visit us in the Career Center. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Janie Arnold. She has been doing sales for a long time at Haagen Printing, and I'll let you take it away.
I fear a longer time than some of you have been born. I don't fear that, I just suspect that it might be true. So I have actually been selling printing for 33 years here in Santa Barbara. And when we first talked about me doing this, and I kind of told her a little bit about my story, she was going, I don't know, Janie, I want them to think it's really important to go to college. And I didn't go to college because I knew when I was, I have a lot of family, and my eldest sister had a baby when I was 7, and I knew that my career was to be a mom. And I never veered from that. And I didn't need a college education because there were 8 women in my house all having babies, my older sisters having babies, so I got on-the-job training every day. So fast forward 17 years, I got married and had a baby and was very happy. We came out, I was in Pennsylvania, I came out to California so my now former husband could go to Brooks. And we in fact had another baby, and I was at a Brooks party. It's like, all the guys that go to Brooks have parties together. So, and there was another one of the wives there, and she, at the end of the evening, I'm not much of a drinker, I just have this kind of personality all the time. So she said, you are exactly who we're looking for our front office. You need to come work with us. My son was 10 months old at the time. I had just started classes at City College, I don't know, 3 or 4 months prior to this. And so I'm a nursing mother, 2 children, and going to school part-time. Really, how much more can I do? But it nagged me. It was in a printing company. I had no more idea, one, how to do sales, and printing, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what printing was. Do you think about when you choose which ketchup bottle you want, somebody printed that label and how the ink actually got on that piece of paper and it got on the bottle? I didn't. So anyhow, after nagging about it in my head for a week, I went down, I called and said, I'm going to come in and talk with you about this. And I never left. Literally, I went down that day after class, went over to the shop and spent the rest of the afternoon there. Immediately I was hired because they really were looking for a personality. Again, I didn't particularly know what that meant at the time. Who tells you this stuff? So, but what I had and what I found out later, because they told me, not because I figured it out, but because they told me, I was raised in this huge family. I had 1 dad and 1 mother. I had 7 sisters, 1 brother older than me, and 1 brother and sister younger than me. So I kind of came out of the chute in sales because there weren't enough parents to go around for all of us to get what we wanted, so the best salesperson wins. Didn't know it at the time, but I want to really share that with you because there's no one in this room who's not already in sales. You may not be getting paid for it, you may not have a commission structure, but you are in sales. You and your girlfriends are going out and you want to go to this place and 7 of them want to go to that place. You all are selling each other on going where you want. You all are selling some woman on coming out to dinner with you some night. She's selling somebody, her children, on going where she needs them to go in the order she needs them to go. It's all we do all day long is sell. And if you take it out of that car salesman kind of energy, you just go, yeah. You sell your instructors here at school on giving you one more chance to do something, or to get it, the do-over, to make it up, or whatever. So if you think about it like that, sales is really, really easy. It's enrolling someone else in your point of view. And not like laboriously so, but just what else is possible? I mean, that's my favorite question. What else is possible? Like when I'm not getting what I want. What else is possible? My suitcase is too heavy, but I have to have it on the plane. What else is possible? And you know what? They always come up with something. Because I ask nice, and I just really need your help with this. So anyhow, I've been doing sales, and my job started off as counter sales. So, I'm in the office, you need something printed, you walk in. And I say, sure, I can help you. And I learned on the job, which you do every job. I mean, no matter what education you had, you got to find out how they wanted you to do stuff at Rightscale, right? All of you who have gone, working at Macy's, was it? You had to learn how they wanted you to do it. And you could take that energy over to Nordstrom, but they have a whole different way of doing it. So you always have on-the-job training. So really just be prepared for that. Don't be hard on yourselves. Don't judge. There's not right or wrong. There's just learning. It's, like as my young daughter said once when I did something, and I said, I totally messed this up. She said, Mom, it was just an idea that didn't work. And I went, see, this is why God had me have children, so I learned. So all of these are ideas that don't work. They weren't right or wrong. Just choose again. So my job now has turned into outside sales. When I was there 3 months, and he said, I want you to take your act on the road. Didn't know what that meant either, but. And then I told my husband, well, they want me to do this. And he said, how much is it going to pay? And I went, oh, I don't know. I just thought it would be fun. And so then he taught me that you have to get paid for the things you do, not just have fun, which I still have a little trouble with that. But outside sales is you go out. You're not waiting for people to come to you. And so then there's all the research you do, and with the internet, of course, you guys, I don't even have to talk to you about it. You know more about it than I do. But you go on, you find out who's in that company, you find out who's buying printing. Is it purchasing agent? Is it marketing people? Is it the art department? Who's buying printing? And you just call them. And again, it's just an enrollment process. Ask for the appointment. If you're selling yourself for your next job, ask for the appointment. Could I have an appointment? Can we set something up? I'm available. And give them times, I can do it Tuesday at 2:30 or Wednesday at 1. Which one of those would work better for you? Assume it. You assume it up front. Who is better than me for this job? I can't even imagine. Cannot imagine who's better for me, for this person than me to be hired. You go into it with that, not, oh my God, this other person, oh my God, first of all, they're 40 years younger than me. I don't care. I have 40 years experience, you don't. I have to go with that all the time. No matter what is going on, I have to go in knowing that everything that I am, whether it's my 19-year-old self or my no longer 19-year-old self, goes in with an attitude of, I always have fun. I always go in with an attitude of fun. And I just want the appointment. We're just going to talk. I'm going to find out what you need. I actually may not do the kind of printing you need. I don't know. But we'll sit and talk. But if I try and do that over the phone, then you don't know who I am. And if you don't know, Mary Kay Ash, who is the founder and director, well, past director because she's died now, of Mary Kay Cosmetics, said they buy you first. And that's how she did her training of all the saleswomen all over this world. They buy you first, and then whatever it is you're selling. So your first sales job is right here. This is your first job. When you're looking in the mirror, sell you on that person. And then the rest of the day you own it. And I know it's kind of oversimplified, but it's because it's true. On days when I feel like I didn't sleep well, I ate badly, I argued with somebody and I haven't let it go yet, I don't make sales calls because nobody wants to hear it. They don't want to hear it in my voice. They surely, oh, see, I almost said a bad word there. They surely do not want to hear it in my conversation. What?
We're filming this.
That's why I didn't say it. So, you know, figure out how you keep yourself up. What do you say to yourself? Who do you turn to help you stay up on who you are? And trust that you are fabulous. There's stuff you don't know, but it doesn't mean you can't learn it. Who you are is fabulous, and I tell myself that every day. God, you're fabulous, and it's so great that I get to be here. I get to have this body in this life and this job and get to go to my work today. Because I love it, because I get to play with you. I get to play with you, I get to talk with you, I get to find out what's going on with you, and it interests me so much. I would do it for free, except that I don't. I put 4 kids through college, so I don't think I need to say more on that.
I didn't mean to end you. But
Thank you.
But that was very nice of you because your time was up.
Yeah, I was watching the clock.
Our last person, thank you, Janie. Our last person to present is Diana Watts, and she is a media buyer at Pal 8 Media, and I'll let you explain what that's all about and your path. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to explain mostly just a little bit about media and advertising, and I'm actually a buyer. I'm not a salesperson, but I work with salespeople and I work with marketing departments at our clients. So we work with Panda Express, Roundtable Pizza, various clients. And we're just kind of a middleman that is designed to be knowledgeable about advertising and maximizing your efficiency and getting your message out there. So it started off, I was a comparative literature major at UCSB, with an emphasis on foreign language. So there's about 17,000 people when I was at UCSB and less than 200 comparative literature majors. So I got a lot of pushback for what are you going to be, what are you going to do with your liberal arts degree. Just kind of, everyone just assumed teacher, basically. I think if you're a female English major of any sort, you probably get that. But I went to Spain for a semester, and so with the foreign language emphasis, I got a job at Univision in Chico. And so with the television background, I worked with this agency, Pal 8 in Santa Barbara, which of course I was more than happy to move back to. So I emailed them and explained what, on paper, just how organized they were, and compared to other media agencies, they really were heads and shoulders above the rest. And just that little compliment really got me an interview, and mostly they could also call their contact at the station and get a reference right away, so that was helpful. But I've been there almost 5 years now. I don't normally have to do public speaking, obviously. Everything is kind of mostly on the phone. We meet with clients. We do events, or since we're working with television stations, we're taking our clients to the Laker game, or taking Roundtable to the Giants game, or various kind of team building activities. So it's a fun job, has fun perks as well. But yeah, that's mostly it. I would have never guessed. You mentioned that a lot of people go into sales and they never thought that they would be in sales. I'm basically a paid negotiator, and it's not my personality. I never suspected that I would be in this position, but I am good at math, and I can, it's basically a giant puzzle when you're negotiating cost per points and Nielsen ratings and how, you know, the viewership on certain TV programs, and it really becomes very technical. And so that I am good at. So, yeah, that's basically it, and I'll just let you ask questions.
Great, thank you. That's great, thank you. I really appreciate you giving your perspective on your job, and you're newly in the workforce. So, actually, both of you guys have.
Actually, there was one thing I was going to mention about that also. Actually, how I got on with Fox and Univision, my initial job at the TV station was with a temp agency. And I worked 2 other temp jobs, one for a labor union and for the trash company, actually, because you took a typing test, and then and having a college degree, they immediately put you into office environments. And so I got into this very niche industry where if you know anything about media, it's so small that you can really go anywhere. and that was just really a random way to get in. It wasn't through connections or.
Oh, that's a really great point. I think that sometimes, I know this has been true for me because I had an international job and I really wanted to have an international job, but I had no idea about that world. But once you kind of scratch the surface and once you make your first foray into it, you
Mhm.
realize how small all of these worlds are. So I really encourage you to kind of do whatever it takes to break that first barrier, because once that's down, you're like, oh, okay, media
Yeah.
jobs, they're no big mystery, or the international nonprofit world. Now I know everybody in it, you know. So I have a million questions, but this isn't really about me, it's about you. So I'm gonna see, does anybody have a question that they're already dying to ask? Yes.
What could, was it Alexander, Alex?
Daniel, but
Daniel.
Alex works too.
What country were you thinking about going to?
Good question. So
You're
one
not
component is my interests, you know, where do I want to live? And then the other would be, where does Redscale need me? And where does Redscale need me is comprised of what's the team doing there and what are our plans for that team? How's the industry evolving around it, and what does the market look like, and how do we forecast it growing, and how quickly do we forecast it growing, and how large do we forecast it growing? So at this point, London is the best option because we're looking to hire several people over there, and 20% of our business comes from the EU.
Anybody else?
What does a Redscale do?
Yeah, great question. So Redscale is a multi-cloud management platform that's used to automate provisioning, configuration, and management of virtual data centers. I knew nothing, like, I didn't know anything about it, right? Like, when I joined, I didn't even know what a server was when I was applying for the job at Rightscale. And so the reason why I said it like that is that it almost doesn't really matter, which lends to Janie's point, is that there's on-the-job training. So if you can present yourself as someone that is a good fit for the job and that people want to work with, you can learn once you get there. And you know, one of the good things to present yourself as is an eager, motivated, and fast learner, which I believe everyone can be.
I think that's a great point, and that's something I noticed when, for sure when Janie and Daniel were presenting, and probably is also true for you, Diana, is that they talked about the cultures of the company, or that the company said, you're a perfect fit, you know, they really identified you. They said, you're the kind of person we need in our company. And I think, Daniel, you also talked about, you know, talking to people and saying, yeah, I really get along with these guys. And exactly what you're saying, that technology stuff, that can be taught, but fitting it into a company and having that kind of can-do personality, that's something that, you know, you have to kind of come with. So that was a theme I noticed. The other thing I noticed is that going to parties seems to be a great way for you people to get jobs, and I really support that. I like that. And let me just get through my list, and then we'll get to you guys, okay?
You've already got a job, Kristen.
I know. The other thing I noticed, though, I just want to say is that that you weren't focused on the pay, and that kind of came out, and that's something I've noticed with other people who have come to this series and spoken this series, is a lot of times students come to us and they say, well, I want to make a job, you know, I want to make a lot of money. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make a lot of money, but I think that it sometimes is putting the cart before the horse. And I think that you all have kind of focused on, hey, what am I really good at? And usually when you're doing what you're really good at, the pay is something that, you know, you have to be mindful of it, but it's something that will come. And I really appreciate that, because I think it's an important piece.
It also doesn't really matter if you hate what you do or don't enjoy it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you make.
And if you don't enjoy it and you keep doing it, you're going to start hating it more each day or each week or each month.
Well, because your body and mind are going to start falling apart, and then you can't afford anything because you're just taking care of your health or something, you know. So yeah. So I said I always have fun, because otherwise it doesn't.
There's nothing really as good as loving your job.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't
so
even
true.
realize I loved this job until I had this job, and then all of a sudden it occurred to me, this is totally different from all those other jobs I knew I liked. It just is a totally different experience.
Yeah, and you smile when you're talking about it. It's really cool. Do you have a question back there?
No, maybe. What tips you got for me if I want to start a company? Like, what tips would you guys give me at the beginning if I started a technical company?
Oh, mine would be network.
If you have one tip to give me.
What network?
Network.
Yeah, any way you can. Any way you can, network.
It's a great question. So the team is very important when you're starting, and having personalities that work well together but are complementary. I think I said George Washington surrounded himself with people with different views. So complementary skill sets is good. Industry knowledge is pretty important. I'd also say networking in terms of not only meeting the right people, but also finding funding. And a lot of times the best way to get funding and to create new products is, most people think, okay, I need to design, build, and then sell. And what most experts say these days is, actually you've got to sell and then design and then build. And the idea is, you don't sell some product that you don't have, but you start talking to people, you gauge their interests, you see, do they really want this? Is there really a market for it? And how can I make adjustments to increase the market for it or to differentiate? And then once you've got something that people really want, almost like a virtual queue of customers, then you can go out, you can really attract good people, you can get funding, and then move on to the next stages, and also ensure that you're building something that will eventually sell, and it's not just gonna be sitting there with people like Janie and I calling and getting hung up on her. That actually doesn't ever really happen, by the way, but.
Yeah, people always return phone calls, no matter what you've heard or seen in sitcoms.
Did you have a question
Yeah,
here?
I'm actually, my question is, like I've always, I'm a film production major, and I've been like doing like, I consider myself like a filmmaker.
Mhm.
But anyways, I've always been interested in marketing, but I want to be more like a specialist in marketing, like in demographics, as in like Latino. Like,
Okay.
So like, what do you recommend? Like, I speak Spanish, like first generation, like, and
Yeah.
I do film, and but I want to apply that into marketing, or what's the best?
The couple of things. The most creative agencies, our agency here is media buying and planning. So we don't actually create any commercials. We don't have any commercial production. That is all basically in Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica area. I would say like most of the commercials in the U.S. are probably filmed right there. So working at a large agency would need that knowledge. Like anyone with Hispanic targeted clients. Also working for Univision is, I mean, they're completely dominant. Most of the programming comes out of like Brazil, but there are some local shows in basically the two hubs are Los Angeles and Miami. So if you're doing video production, you probably want to be in either of those places. And yeah.
You
You had
can
a
use
question?
your background too, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a filmmaker, you've got to be able to market your films,
Yeah,
right? So
definitely.
they get out there. Vice versa, you could work for a film company as someone in marketing with your film background
Yeah,
and
like,
knowledge.
oh.
So it's taking interest, taking background.
Yeah, because I always want to like, more of the niche, which is how can I make myself more dynamic, and just like deciding like if I should just continue like get my BA like in film production, like in that, or should I just get my BA like in marketing?
Mhm.
Since like I get my BA in marketing and my background in filmmaking will like complement it, or something of that motion, you know?
Yeah, it would have to be someone that actually worked with film, because for the most part, it seems like it's more graphic design for most like client. If you're actually going to work for, there's so many different like companies, obviously corporate. Like for example, Panda Express has their own team of graphic designers that do a lot of their art, and then they work with the creative agency that makes the spot. If you're doing the film thing is a little bit more specific, obviously. And the thing that about marketing is that every marketing department, you have product development, like menu, or I mostly deal with restaurant clients. But it's not, I thought of marketing mostly as the advertising, like the outside, but there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes, behind creating the food, creating the look, creating the menu, getting the word out. just, marketing can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
And we can help you out here in the Career Center if you wanted to explore some of the different majors and what that might prepare you best for. So feel free to come by or make an appointment with us. That's what we're here for. Yes?
So, seeing as you two have degrees and you don't, do you think that having a degree to be in sales is really important, or do you think that you can get into sales without a degree?
You know, as I mentioned, I put 4 kids through college, and you know, my experience is none of them walked out to a great job. Because everybody's getting degrees now. Everybody's going to college, and so I think to be competitive, a college degree is probably not a really bad choice. You know, on the other hand, go to a party, find out what happens, you know?
Exactly.
In terms of how good of a salesperson you are,
Yeah.
I don't think it matters at all.
No.
You can see Janie's incredible. So it's not as much about that. In terms of getting your foot in the door, in terms of networking, in terms of exploring your own interests and passions, in terms of expanding the way you look at the world and analyze situations and make decisions, I'd say it's probably a good starting point, especially because most jobs require four-year degrees.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of the people that like some of the best salesmen that have started some of the most successful companies in Santa Barbara didn't have any sort of degrees. Sometimes to get to that point, the degree helps.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's fun.
I did not pay them to say this. Yes.
Working outside sales or at a startup, how do you stay motivated and keep your team motivated every day to keep the company growing? And like, what personal development strategies do you use or do you apply towards your team?
Well, I don't have a team.
I'm
work
on a
with
team.
people, but, yeah.
I could try to take this one. So I'm not a manager, but I have been able to help hire a number of people and help structure a department in terms of multiple teams. I would say first off that in a startup, if the person's not motivated to be there naturally, they shouldn't be there. And so advice to you guys is when you're applying for jobs, seem very, very motivated, do your homework, go in prepared, and don't fake it, because if you're not, then chances of you getting there and then actually really being motivated are slim, and it's just sort of a waste of your time and the company's time. In terms of things we do, so there's a lot of communication and what we call sort of horizontal structure, so that the things everyone's doing really matters. So autonomy is a big part of motivating people. People want to have responsibility, they want to own something, contribute. Mastery is another one, so getting better at what you're doing a really good job. Those are two things that are both quite important. In terms of actual things that I would do if I was in a manager position is, sort of a long leash and give people a lot of flexibility and freedom, and to let them know basically I'm trying to make you I'm trying to help you work, or trying to set things up so you can work in the most productive and enjoyable way possible. And I think that not only helps people thrive, but it makes them want to be there. It's better loyalty and better for everyone.
And I think it's really important, you were kind of touching on this, you have to show up as yourself. At one point, when I first heard about outside sales, I was terrorized. I literally could not sleep when I found out what it was. First I said, yay, and then I found out what it was, and I was terrorized by it. I have to go up to total strangers. When they come to me, I'm good, but now I have to go seek them out. I was terrorized, and a woman said, I took a class, so take classes. I took a class, and she just said, who do you know, she was telling all of us, who do you know that just seems to walk into a room and own it? They just own the room. They're comfortable with, they can talk with everybody. Well, it was her in my mind, and so she just said, whoever that is, just when you are walking into a networking or a B2B or a business after hours or whatever, kind of embody that person and go in as them. So just kind of go in. Who do you know that just can go in to a total, not knowing a single person in the room? Be them, embody them. I tease her that I've embodied her for 40 years now. But but I always did her as me, because I didn't know how to do her as, you know, I couldn't do her totally. So you have to bring yourself to the game, because no matter what kind of a sales team you have, what kind of a manager you have, you're the one who really motivates yourself, and you're the one who has fun at your job, and you're the one who talks to those clients, and they get who you are. And it's back to that, they buy you first. So it really comes down to, if you go in a job and you can't kind of get over the fear of, oh my God, talking to total strangers, or you can't, then maybe that's not your job. Maybe your job is you know, doing the things that help that person get out there every day. But, and then you can learn how to do the job, you know, on the job training. But you really have to own who you are, and joyfully, gratefully own who you are. Know what you'd like to change and make those changes by classes or whatever. But you just have to, I don't do sales like some people do sales. I mean, I know people who do sales and I go, I don't know how they ever make any money. They're so whatever by my standard. And people look at me and go, how do you ever make any money? You're so like laid back and what, you know, the things that they think of me. But, you know, we're all attracted to the kind of energies that, so everybody gets to do it but their way, by the rules of whoever they're working for.
Yes.
Leading by example is also really important.
Yeah.
So when you lead by example, people not only have a lot more respect for you, but there's more credibility with what you say and what they do, so people learn a lot more motivated. So, and that's whether you're a manager, person at the bottom, or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say about that is somebody told me to, like, kind of dress and act the part that you want to have, not the job that you have currently. So I started off as the receptionist at the TV station, and I always kind of dressed up, and obviously I was already having a degree and everything like that, so I was an easy shoe-in for the next promotion. That's exactly what happened. And my manager would say things to me like, you always look so nice, or you always, you know, just even like dressing, and that Fox was very corporate, so it's like power suits all the time. But doing that really made an impact on his perception of me, and that I fit that job. But he didn't even have to think like, maybe she's not quite ready, or, you know, anything like that. And even right now, we don't have to dress up at all. I wear sweats to work sometimes. And, but if I'm gonna negotiate, cause even though it's all on the phone, I will dress up just for that day because I feel better about it. And they can, it's like what you're saying, they can hear it in your voice. If you feel more powerful, if you feel like you, sometimes it's kind of immature, but I'll be like, I win. My strategy today is I win, and when I talk to you, you will realize that why I win.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of, obviously you're working together, but that confidence is really kind of infectious.
And that's a cool thing that you did too, Diana, is you took a receptionist job at a company that you were interested in working for.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you're out of college, you kind of want that great job.
Yeah, it was not what I expected to do.
Yeah, but it's really a great way to just get in with a company and kind of see what the culture is. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, what do you really need to do to work here? So, yeah, we have a couple questions over here. One there.
If you were to do it again, Diana, how would you change the way you got into that company? Would you do it the same way, or how would you improve on it?
That's kind of what, with the comment that you don't know how the stars are gonna align, I don't feel like I could have ever gotten in that company. At the time, there was so little turnover, I just didn't see how anyone ever got hired. Everyone in Chico, there's so few, well, good paying jobs at all that anything stable that had a full benefits package, nobody was leaving. And so I just really, I wouldn't change anything about it. I mean, I really enjoyed working for the temp company. It gave me a lot of experience that I would have never had otherwise. Even kind of like when you jump into a job, I feel like the first year of any job, you have no idea what you're doing. And if you're doing a temp job, you only have 2 months, or, you know, it's all temporary assignments. So it really forces you to just be quick and flexible, and also like you have to be like pleasant to work with, and because it's not like you know what you're doing. It's a frustrating experience, basically. So anyway, I don't know how anyone gets into media. It's so small, but if you can, then that will take you a long way, because it's experience that so few people have.
I think temp agencies can be really great ways to try a bunch of different jobs. I've definitely done my share with temp agencies when I was between jobs. And it was actually what got me kind of interested in this field of employment services. I was working in an HR department for a temp company after I moved back from India, and I thought, oh yeah, this is cool, you know, working with people getting jobs, and so then I found this job. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Would you say the best way to look for jobs is networking then? It's just getting your name out and talking to people, and you can meet people and find out about jobs in really mysterious ways?
For me, I would say yes, because that's who I am. And I am not as computer friendly as some in this room might be. So, you know, LinkedIn is like a mystery land.
I would say yes, and because what I do is help people find jobs. And let me just tell you, the answer to that question is yes, because we're in a tight market. The jobs in the newspaper there aren't even jobs in the newspaper. The jobs online are fake, or they fill immediately. So the real way that people get jobs is meeting people and talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
You got yours having sake bombs at Kyoto. You got yours being at a temp agency and basically networking at the places that you went to. You got yours going to a party too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you also have to do all the kind of traditional diligence stuff, you know, in terms of knowing the companies and whatnot. But I think that networking is what's going to set you apart and actually get you the job.
My assistant that my boss just stole from me because she's so awesome. She interviewed me for a class at UCSB. It was a communications class on interviewing, and she called a bunch of agencies in town, and we were the only ones that actually answered the phone. So she came and interviewed me, and I told my boss that she's so awesome. Can we hire her? I would like her to work for me. And so then she was so great that, so now her friend is my new assistant since my boss stole her, but, so she just got the connection route in, but she literally just picked up the phone, called a random company, and interviewed someone at the company looking,
So
I want to learn more about this
she was doing
career.
an informational interview, like she didn't
Yeah.
think you guys had a job, she
No,
just wanted to
and-
find out.
yeah.
That's great.
We were
'cause-
not hiring, you know, she just came in and was so bubbly, and so, she seemed perfect, and she really is, so.
That's awesome.
I would say that it's definitely one of the best ways to get a job. In terms of finding jobs, there's so much that's out there. So just exposing yourself to that, whether it's talking to people, whether it's searching out your interests online and seeing what companies are behind those, whether it's taking courses that have some sort of industry collaboration and trying to get connected that way. I'd say just really put yourself out there. Don't try to think a limited view in terms of the different possibilities, because a lot of times getting from A to B, you're not going to take the path that you think you will.
Yeah.
And then once you find, you know, jobs you like, then try to use networking, and, you know, unless you know, it's, again, someone you just met, and then it's great.
But networking is also sort of those things you're talking about, Daniel. I mean,
Yeah,
networking is
exactly.
also these classes and, you know, doing the research and making a cold call and maybe doing a informational interview. I mean, networking isn't just, you know, meeting people at parties and chatting people up at business-to-business mixers. You know, it's really a web of activities, which are some of which you just said.
I have a woman friend who's just moved here from Indiana. She's been here for about a year, and she has a lot of interest but didn't know anybody. So she, online, and there are meetup groups, and you probably know more about these than I do, but there are meetup groups, and it's like she loves to sail. There's a meetup group for, you know, come and, you know, this person she met has a boat, and he's by himself. He can't sail this boat by himself. So he goes to these meetup groups and picks up 6 or 7 people that want to come out sailing with them. And she did a hiking meetup group. And out of that, she's a financial advisor. And she's gotten so many clients out of this, just because she wants to go sailing and she wants to go hiking and she wants to learn Italian. And so, I mean, and that's all networking. That's all networking.
You should
so.
put her in touch with me if she wants to learn Italian.
Oh,
Just so you know.
oh, duh. Or you come to
Networking.
a class thinking you're going to be of service to them, and you get, you know.
Anybody else with a question? I think we're gonna end here, because it's gotten a bit quiet, and, if you have individual questions for our speakers, I'm sure they could stay a couple minutes and answer them. I really appreciate you for coming, and I really appreciate you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.